Geeks worldwide, welcome back, people. I'm so glad to be back on the interwebs with you for another episode of the Geekside podcast. We are on episode 25, and that officially means that our insurance rates have gone down. We can actually rent a car, which is exciting. But other than that, I'm excited to be back because we took a little break last week. I had 5 bajillion things going on in the personal lives, and as those things do. But let's get to the fun stuff. As always, let's bring on the crew tonight. I have my right-hand man, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend behind Superpowered Fancast. I'm talking about Mr. Deron generally. Deron, what's going on, my friend?
Oh, so much is going on. We've got 10 days to Infinity War.
Oh, God, man. Wait, you're killing me right now. It's so soon. It's like, you can taste it. Tastes like Infinity Stone. I know. It tastes like space and reality and time and stuff like that.
Well, they're all different colors, so they're different flavors, right, guys?
Yes, that's how that works. If we're dealing with the tricks property of everything, there's like a orangey orange and like lemony yellow. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, great.
Next question: have you ever worn gloves for a long time?
Yeah.
And, this, what does the inside of the Infinity Gauntlet smell like? It has to reek.
Yes, I was gonna say, Deron, if you ever, I thought you were gonna say have you ever worn gloves for a long time and then you don't wash your hands before you eat a chip or something? You're like, that's a glove taste.
Really not going there.
Moist.
Yes. Dang it. Mac has already said my word, but
are you regretting having me on yet?
Never in a million years. Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to have one of the most amazing people that I know in the wide world of geekdom. She's I consider her like one of the OG cosplay folks before they called it cosplay, right, Mac?
Sure, that's very lofty, and I appreciate it.
Yes, but friends, we are here with the amazing Mac Beauvais, my friend. It's so good to talk to you. What's new in the crew?
Oh my God, way too many things. I have too many hobbies.
Okay.
So I'm consistently busy all the time. I would say I would sleep when I'm dead, but I'm pretty sure that won't happen either. I'm gonna be down in hell hey, Satan, you need some help? I got a pitchfork. I can help torture some guys for you. What's up?
I got this. I won't let you down. Let's do this.
Yeah, sleep will never happen. Right now, I'm running an Indiegogo campaign, and crowdsourcing is the worst thing in the world.
Goodness gracious. Before we get into what you're funding and sourcing, I want to talk to you just a little bit about you, my friend, and your geeky origin story. So tell me what amazing things you've done in this wide world of geek.
Oh my God, what haven't I done? That's probably the shorter list.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm a cosplayer, an actor,
yep.
I'm a model, I'm a singer, I'm a nerd. I love monsters. I have an Avengers tattoo on my forearm. I like a little bit everything. I'm wearing a shirt right now that's a mashup of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but it's Bill and Ted from Westworld. So I like to consider myself a well-rounded geek where I like a little bit of everything. I don't feel like I have to choose where it's I have to have DC or Marvel or Star Wars or Star Trek. They're all beautiful and wonderful. I'm the pan of geeks, I guess. All of that geekdom is attractive to me.
Yes. And Mac, besides all that stuff, you also bring really cool things to you bring really cool things home that leave your husband going, why did we bring this home? You were about to tell us before the show started.
Oh, yeah.
What did you bring home the other day?
So I have a coffin now because this is my life. I work with a gal who had been gifted a coffin many years ago. Yeah. And when I started working with her, we hit it off immediately. She's kind of old school goth, and I've got I'd say that I'm recovering goth, but I'm pretty much still very much goth at heart. And we were talking about it. She's like, yeah, I got this coffin. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I'm like, hi, hello. Tell me more about this coffin that you have. So we went out to her place. She's like, it's yours. So I joined the Sisterhood of the Traveling Coffin. We managed to cram it into my car. Right. I had to sit very awkwardly in the passenger seat because it took up so much space. We had to put the passenger seat up as far as it would go.
Yeah.
And just pray that we didn't get an accident. But we got it home, and it's a full-size coffin. It's a real coffin. It's not like a prop piece.
Yeah.
And it came with a fake body already inside that she had. That's a really good quality one that already has a stake driven through its heart.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
I want to keep it in the house. My husband, who is pretty cool at just about everything, that's where he drew the line. So it'll be coming out. It'll be a special occasion coffin.
Okay. All right.
As one has.
Yes.
And it does smell vaguely of formaldehyde on the inside too.
Ooh, it's authentic.
Yeah, it's a legit coffin.
You know, Mac, every geek has their line, and you just found hubby's. So, but
yeah, but we were gonna make it the coffin table, which is a terrible pun, and also our entire living room is all Haunted Mansion meets Addams Family. So I think it would look good in here aesthetically, but it was too much for him.
Yeah, okay. You think it would have been different if it was like a prop coffin? Maybe you think it would have been a little bit of a
I think that just doesn't work for him. And despite all the other weird stuff I have in here, like my ever-growing taxidermy collection, and all of my Ouija stuff, and my whole tarot card collection, but no, the coffin is where the line was drawn.
Well, what are you gonna do, right?
Kill him and keep the coffin inside. I mean, what?
Wait, just
I didn't say anything.
Moving on. So Matt, clearly you have a flavor and a taste for the macabre, which I think lends itself well to the project that you're working on currently, and that you're here to talk about tonight. So tell us a little bit about Typecast.
Well, I'm also here to talk to you guys, but also Typecast. So Typecast is an 8-part comedy web series that we're trying to get off the ground. And it's about 3 actors who are struggling in Hollywood to break out of their typecasting. Again and again, they're cast in horror movies and sci-fi films, and they want more out of life. But they're literally monsters. So imagine that every movie, television show, piece of media that you saw with a monster in it was actually played legitimately by an actor that was that monster. Right. And that is our world. Yeah. And we have our 3 leads. We have Tony, who's a bog monster, and he wants to do so much more. He could be like a Benedict Cumberbatch, except he kind of looks like an unspeakable horror, so nobody wants to cast him in a sitcom or the next Marvel film. Yeah. We have my character, Abby, who is a werewolf. She can only work 3 nights out of the month, and she's a gigantic pain in the ass. Yeah. And like in real life in Hollywood, they usually cast female animals and stuff so they don't have to deal with the whole junk issue. Right. And with this, they cast female werewolves generally so they don't have to deal with that. And her current claim to fame is she's a breakfast cereal mascot. Place. Yes. And then we have Leroy, who is a zombie, and they don't make zombie films anymore because it's considered very rude. There's been an undead rights movement. It's called zombie-station. It's just not appropriate to continue portraying the undead American the way that it has been traditionally. So he mostly plays cadavers in crime procedurals.
That's terrible. Terribly awesome.
Yeah, so it's really us finding a way to kind of turn everything on its head when it comes to typecasting in Hollywood and just the general condition of things and how we treat other people, if you want to be really lofty about it. Yeah. But if we want to be less lofty, I would say it's being human meets extras. Yeah. How much of your actual experience with acting do you feel like you get to infuse into this web series? Oh, I get to do a lot because it's funny, when we started writing this, my friend Ben approached me with this idea, and I'm like, yes, I love this. And we just dove into it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a character that's not the kind of character I ever get to play. But then as we started crafting it, we realized that the character balance we needed between the 3 of them, we kind of needed sort of that sarcastic, surly character that I tend to play. Because I'm usually the sort of surly, sarcastic character, or I'm a monster because I do some creature performing as well. Yeah. And this sort of blended both of those things. But the difference is, normally when I play those kind of characters, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no backstory. It's just you are a monster or you're sarcastic for no reason. They don't really build in why that person's that way. So I got a chance to take the stereotypes that I tend to play and give them some layer and depth that I haven't had before.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, and
horrible character.
Well, I love the concept, especially. I mean, just from the name from Typecast, because it is kind of the worst of Hollywood, but like from a really great perspective. So I mean, that's one of the things I loved about just watching the short on the Indiegogo on the Indiegogo page was hilarious. Like because again, that's kind of how people from outside of the industry kind of view what goes on behind the scenes. So like how I guess I'm trying to ask like how it's going to be like a rudimentary, just like stupid question, but like how long does it take to put that crap on? Like just because it looks like a chore in and of itself.
Being under monster makeup is definitely arduous, and it all depends on who you have doing the actual application. I was really lucky that I was able to get, for the proof of concept we shot, an industry veteran that I'm friends with named Michael Spatola, who he's been working on films for decades. I mean, he knows his stuff, monsters inside and out. The full application took about 2.5 hours, which was actually really fast. I'm sorry, my cat decided that he has an opinion about all of this. No one cares.
He's like, yeah.
Good Lord. But well, I'm sorry, guys. Usually he's pretty okay, but now he's having an issue.
It happens.
So yeah, it was about 2.5 hours, which really is super fast, but we had to do that over 2 different days. So it had to be consistent between the 2 days. And because we had a foam prosthetic over the top part of my face. I had in contacts, fangs, my hands were done. We had fur laid from sort of my chin, like down partway down my chest. And I had the ears on as well, which were an application. And that's really the biggest thing about making this project in general, and part of why we're seeking funding is monster makeup is very expensive and very tedious. People think like you just grab this thing and slap it on your face and then you just take it off and use it again. You can only use them once, not per episode, but per shooting day. So every time that you go to shoot with an actor in makeup, it's a whole new piece that has to be repainted and applied, and it's arduous, but it's really rewarding too, because you'll look in the mirror and you're like, this is me, but it's also not me. And it's a very freeing experience to be under that makeup.
Right.
Oh, it looks amazing. And that's something that it definitely makes me think that there's a lot of like love and attention and hard work going into this project. So I mean, because all of the applications look great.
Yeah, and that was, let's see, the proof of concept was 2 days of filming, and that was all done out of pocket and with people that believe in this project so much that they gave their time so generously to help us out, which, I mean, there's so many people vying to do things and make independent film, and it's a very, very difficult thing to do because you're competing against everybody. So to have a project where people go, how can I be involved? What can I do? And to spend 2 days, spend an entire weekend committed to just making a proof of concept so we had something to show for fundraising is humbling. I mean, absolutely humbling.
And that's one of the things I really thought was really cool, Mac, was that you have essentially a commercial on your Indiegogo and your crowdfunding, which, I mean, for the most part, when you're talking about getting short films or a web series crowdfunded, it's just a director or a writer talking about the project, and you guys went all out and you threw together this commercial, and I want you to talk a little about it because it is so damn hilarious. I was hysterical when I watched it the other day, and we'll say the aftermath of the commercial when the camera stopped rolling on the commercial. But talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we kind of thought we would have an easier time getting people to understand how committed we were to this project, and also get a better taste of what it was if we shot something. So we decided to shoot the live action cereal commercial for Full Moon Flakes, which is sort of like a Count Chocula, but for reals, with actual people and children being menaced. So we did that. We actually had the first day was guerrilla shooting out in the woods, which was pretty fun. And we weren't supposed to be out there filming.
Yeah.
So that was fun. We only had one time where the ranger came by, and I was sort of the dead giveaway. We set up everything to look like it was a kid's birthday party. And we got one time where we had like a red alert and the ranger was coming, and I just like took off into the woods. I'm like, I'm either going to be the next big film or I'm going to get shot. Because I'm in full werewolf makeup. I'm just like, or the ranger's going to catch me and be like, yeah, it's this kid's birthday party. She's super weird. She's into werewolves. They hired me. Like, I'm a paid performer.
I don't question it. I just go with it.
Yeah, that was an interesting day, but we wanted to film that, so it's the entire commercial, except at the end of it, it's the essentially kid like screwing up the take.
Right.
And my character has a Christian Bale level meltdown about it.
Yes.
Because she's a complete diva and a pain in the ass to work with.
Right.
And that was so fun, but also so trying, because that was the second day of filming with the meltdown, and I had a ripped contact. The makeup was not custom made for my face. So the very first day, I couldn't breathe through my nose at all. The second day, I could breathe through one nostril.
Okay.
I had a migraine because we wanted it to be sort of the idea that they hire female werewolves, but they're kind of, played out as being like their male characters. I had my chest bound and wrapped. I had like 4 layers of tank tops on.
Hey.
I had fur glued all over my hands. One of the kids was a little finicky about stuff. And the first 2 takes were pretty good. Yeah. And the third take, we're like, this is the last one we're going to get. And the director said, do you want to just destroy the cereal box prop?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I would.
Yeah.
And everything I had, I just leaned into it. And the first 2 takes, people have been pretty jovial. And the third take, as I'm stomping around the room, I could feel the anxiety levels in the room rise.
Yes.
I was making people literally uncomfortable, even though I'd already done this twice on film. And I came back downstairs, and I remember the first 2 times people were laughing, and that time everybody was quiet. Like, it got really real.
Yeah. You're like, too much?
Because I was so like, I was in extreme pain, the ripped contact, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And like all of that, I just went ahead and used it.
There was I won't give it away so people go check it out on the campaign, but there's a line that somebody says in that scene about 2 cliches of things you don't work with in Hollywood, and your reaction to that was my favorite. I died. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. The guy who says that is actually our actor who plays Leroy, our zombie, and he was on set that day. And we didn't know he was shooting footage on his phone while we were doing this. And he sent it to us afterwards. We're like, oh, that's great. And then we had like these different POVs from different cameras, which made it feel even more behind the scenes.
Yeah. Besides him, tell us a little bit about the other actors on the project.
Yeah, so mad props to Ben, because Ben is also the co-creator, co-writer on this. And we've been working on this a grossly long time, and he's extremely talented. He's an amazing writer, but he's British. He's a ginger Brit. Yeah. So he gets sort of typecast when people ask him for projects as the British guy.
The British guy.
So we were able to take that and kind of turn it in a different direction with, his character being a bog monster, which Ben had actually written a treatment of Typecast. It was about a few pages long that I actually didn't get to see until we'd finished writing the first season. And he'd had this whole thing in his head of just what it would be like to be so stuck as what you look like versus what your capabilities and talents are, which is sort of what he's been facing down when he goes out to perform.
Right.
And so I think it's amazing that he had this idea in the first place. And then Chris Dorman, who's playing Leroy, I will work with Chris on literally anything. He's so nice that you kind of start to feel suspicious about why he's so nice. If he's discovering that he's a serial killer or something.
Yeah.
But he's just so easygoing and fun. And when we started telling him about Leroy, he just glommed onto it immediately. And then our fourth lead is actually played by Brian Ward, and that's Dennis, our agent. And usually when you see agents in these kind of shows, they're either very bumbling and oafish, or they are they're complete assholes.
Yeah.
And with him, he's kind of a jerk, but he's very business savvy, and he doesn't understand why why these actors can't just be content. They're getting work, so why are they trying to buck the system?
Yeah.
He knows what their limitations are, and he doesn't understand why they don't. And we actually auditioned that part, and we had a few people come in and read. And Brian came in. I've been chatting with him, and he was like, I sent him one of the scripts. He's like, I had this funny little email from him. Have you guys cast Dennis yet? I'm like, that's weird. That's not the character I thought somebody would gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Like, not yet. You want to come in and audition? He said, yeah. And he just knocked out of the park because he has this weird combination of being this very slick, capable agent and sort of being semi-repulsed by the people he has to represent.
Yeah.
And it blew us away. It just really worked for that. And I'm so grateful, and I'm really looking forward to getting to perform with all these guys, because they're all solid performers and all different types of performers, which is really exciting to me.
All right. What besides what sounds like an amazing cast of people you get to work with, what's one of your favorite things about this series?
Oh gosh, this is like some kind of really messed up Sophie's Choice. Oh man, I think this is a very selfish thing, but something I'm very excited about is most of the time my character is not actually in makeup, because the other 28 days out of the month, she doesn't look like a werewolf. It's only the full moon. So, but she still thinks of herself as being a werewolf all the time.
Yeah.
So getting to play this character that outwardly looks like she could pass for being human, but isn't and doesn't think of herself that way, is going to be a really interesting challenge that I'm looking forward to getting to do. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I really do like best about this show overall is these characters, the way we wrote them, they're people first, monsters second. There's a lot it would have been very easy to go for the easy gags of these are a bunch of monsters and ha monster jokes, but at their core, they're real people with motivations and dreams and hopes and fears. Right. And they're just stuck because of what they happen to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like the concept so much is that it is playing it is a comedy, but the characters are playing it straight as people. Like they're not trying to and what's funny is they know like most people, if they had something that unique, that'd be what they played up as, their persona. That's what they would want people to know them for, so that they could get the gig. And it's interesting to see the contrast to that, and saying, hey, you know what, I want work, but I want to expand. I want to be more than what I want to be more than how I look. And that's why the concept is that's why the concept's so interesting to me.
Yeah, and it's very much, there's a lot of the grass is greener. Abby is jealous of Tony's career, and Tony hates his career. Yeah. But it's better than what she has. So there's a lot of that. So it's really comes out of a love of monsters, but also I think an understanding of the industry and how that works, and just society on the whole, and just how we treat people sometimes. It's so easy to judge just on the surface level of things.
Sure. Mac, you said you guys have written out the first season, so kind of break it down for us. How long are the episodes, and how many episodes have you guys written?
So our first season is 8 episodes. They'll probably be about 6 to 10 minutes a piece. I mean, it all changes when you're actually shooting, because sometimes things go on longer or they go faster, but that's sort of the ground we're aiming for. The nice thing, though, is since we're going through Indiegogo, because we do have a very high budget, because we wanted to be realistic with everybody about what it would actually take to make all 8 episodes, especially considering monster makeup, and we have some specialized locations. But because of Indiegogo, we can take whatever we do actually raise towards our goal, and we're going to make as much of it as we possibly can off that. So it might be 1 episode, it might be 3. Hopefully it's all 8. But where we stand right now, I feel confident that we could at least get the first episode out. The the head cast done, and we have to have the sculpting done and have custom pieces done, so our actors are not only as comfortable as possible, but it also fits their faces properly and moves with them. A lot of the initial cost for that comes right up front, even before you shoot the very first episode. And that's the biggest challenge with getting it off the ground, is a lot of it is that first episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of crowdfunding, I know one of the amazing things when you're donating to, campaigns is the rewards and benefits. So tell us a little bit about the rewards and benefits you guys are doing for your project.
Well, I'll tell you guys about the one that's my absolute favorite first, which is we partnered with friends over at Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, and they formulated a custom perfume scent that is full moon flakes.
Nice.
And it does smell like cocoa and marshmallow. I have a tester tube of it, and it is amazing. It's like weirdly wearable, because you think that would be like too much, but it actually smells really nice on, and it's actually a scent that is very unisex too. Like, it doesn't feel super florally, it doesn't feel super musky. It's just kind of this really nice, you have sort of this nice sweet smell to it. And in fact, they were able to take this weird cereal that we made up and come up with a scent that was wearable from it. Blows my mind. We also have pretty much at all of the donation tiers, you can get a downloadable PDF of the breakfast cereal box, which the mascot was actually illustrated for us by Abraham Lopez, which was amazing of him. And then my friend Bat Rivera did the rest of the box packaging, and it actually has games on it and in-jokes, and like, it is a fully realized cereal box. It's not just the front, it is a whole thing. And you can actually, I printed it out on regular paper, and it makes an amazing little paper craft box. It's about the size of those like one serving cereal boxes that
That's the coolest thing.
We do have opportunities at some of the higher levels to be put in monster makeup and be a monster on set for a day with us. We have bound copies of the scripts, so whatever we do shoot, we will bind and sign copies of the scripts, because there's a lot in the scripts that people won't see. We write a lot of jokes into sort of the interstitial descriptive bits of our scripts that never get filmed but are still immensely entertaining. We have, I think we still have one left of the props. We have a couple of screen used props. And then if we got any high rollers out there, Ben and I are both very big into tabletop RPGs. And so on top of getting an executive producer credit and all kinds of stuff, we will actually run a one-off monster-themed tabletop RPG for them and 3 friends.
Nice.
I like it, my friend. I like it.
Yeah, we wanted to do something that was different. I mean, at the end of the day, the money should be focused on production. I've seen so many fundraisers where they kill themselves and they have such high budget rewards that it's amazing they can make anything at the end of the day. So we wanted to give people value, but also give at the end of the day, they're paying to help make entertainment that they're going to get to enjoy later. So we want to make sure that that's where the majority of the money goes, is so that we can actually produce this thing and provide them with the end product, which is an amazing show.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my friend. So why don't you drop the web address for the campaign and where they can find out more about Typecast?
So the easiest way to find it is bit.ly, which is bit.ly/typecastgogo. It's all lowercase, bit.ly/typecastgogo.
Excellent. And if they want to follow you on Twitter and social media, where can they find you at?
They can find me wherever great social media is sold, as @strangelikeThat.
Excellent.
So the Twitters, the Instagrams, and the Facebooks, potentially in their nightmares also.
Yes. Mac, I got to ask you, since you've done so much with, cosplay and horror genre and monster makeup, what's one of your favorite, like, over-the-top monster looks that you've done in the past?
Oh gosh, over the top. Well, I gotta say, probably the most out there thing that I did was I dressed up as Vladislav from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Which was super fun and a little challenging, because I bought this mustache piece because I was on a very tight budget, and I thought I could cut the ends off of it to make the goatee part, and unfortunately I couldn't. So I took an old wig that I had and I just did like a quick hand laid hair application on my chin using wig hairs and then retrimmed it.
Yeah, right.
But that was an interesting day because I didn't do it as like a crossplay. I literally dressed up as a guy to go and do this. And I remember driving to the convention with my husband and he was just kind of like, this is weird. Real weird. But it was so much fun.
Okay. Then on that note, what would be your Mount Everest of cosplay? Like money was no object, unlimited budget. What would be the look you would want to create?
Oh, that's so hard because there's like so many things that I really would like to do. I mean, I'd love to do a legit Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. Like the green skin, the whole nine. If I was to go really, really nuts, though, I would love to figure out how to do a Worgen from World of Warcraft.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like stilts, the whole nine.
Right. Go big, right?
Yeah, that would be like the big thing. And Maleficent's more like the more attainable. And then under that, the one that I keep talking about doing, I just haven't gotten around to doing yet, is I really, really want to do Galadriel.
Oh, Mac, you'd be perfect as that. You'd kill that. Destroyed.
Yeah, I kind of get that every time I bring it up, and then I'm like, oh, that requires sewing and time and money.
Yes.
All things that I don't have a lot of at this moment.
Yeah, great. Damn reality.
Yeah. I just want to be eccentrically rich. It doesn't have to be grossly rich, just enough that I feel like, I think I'm going to do this cosplay today.
Yes. It doesn't have to be obscene, right? Just enough to get you to do what you need to do.
Yeah, I don't need a private jet and a gold-plated toilet. I just need enough to be able to buy the things that I want to make.
Yeah, and enough that if you do something strange, they go, it's okay, she's rich.
Yeah. Perfect. Excellent. Friend, how long have you been at the cosplay game? Because I don't think I've ever actually asked you that.
Gosh, I am terrible at years.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how long it's been. It's probably been like 8. Yeah. I didn't mean to get into cosplay either. That's the weird thing. I have to blame my cosplay partner in crime, Chrissy Lynn, because it really it snowballed out of control. It started as a Halloween costume that I did that one year that was very ambitious. I'm like, I'm going to be Poison Ivy for Halloween. Yep. I'm going to do this. And I sat and attached so many leaves to lingerie to make the top and bottoms. And Chrissy was going to San Diego Comic-Con that following year. And she said, I'm going to put together a Gotham City Sirens group. And you have a Poison Ivy costume. So why don't we do that? And I went, okay, I don't see why not. Sure. And it's been downhill since then.
Right. It's always something like that, right?
Yeah. That's the one costume that I really need to at some point focus on redoing is update a Poison Ivy costume. It's just, people think it's really easy. They're like, oh, you just glue a bunch of leaves onto stuff. But it's extremely tedious to make it look right and have them lay the correct way and attach and not come off if you get warm. Yeah. It takes forever. Yeah. It's torture.
Besides all things horror and tabletops and stuff like that, what's your other geek? We'll say what tickles your geek fancy. What's some of the other things you're really into?
Oh God, like I said, there's so many things. Really into Disney.
Yes,
I grew up on Disney. Actually,
I wanted to talk about that. I was hoping you'd say that because there's something else you've done on the web with Disney and the adult side of Disney. We'll say tell a little bit about that.
The adult side of Disney sounds super kinky. I'm into it.
Yeah, let's explore this, shall we?
Yeah, so am I. I do a podcast with my husband called Disney Distilled. Yeah. And what we do is every episode we make a drink that is either served at Disney parks or is inspired by Disney. And we drink that as we do the podcast. For being a huge Disney fan, what I do is I purposefully avoid Disney news now so that my husband can spring it on me when I'm inebriated because I'm already a pretty honest person about things and can't keep my mouth shut about my opinions. And it's extra bad when I've been drinking.
Right.
So here's this thing I'm really passionate about. Here's a news story that I might think is really stupid and I've been drinking.
Yes.
leads to an interesting combination of things.
Right. Is there a drink that you've had on your show that sticks out in your brain that just got you like obliterated that you guys have made?
Oh man. Okay, well there's two.
Okay.
So one I did pretty okay with, which was a Scotch mist, because I tend to drink more whiskeys and things along that line. And it's a drink that Walt would have, and it's basically Scotch on the rocks with a twist of lemon. There's the twist of lemon is supposed to be the mist part.
Yes.
That was a lot. There was another one that served on cruise ships, and I can't remember exactly what was in it. It was one of our earliest episodes. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
We pretty much obliterated some friends during one of the podcasts because we made lapu lapus that they serve at the Polynesian in Florida.
Right.
Although I'm trying to remember what it was. There was some gin drink that we had, and I think I started drinking on an empty stomach.
Ooh.
And it's the only time like I can drink a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I can drink a lot. I'm pretty okay with my liquor. I had so much though that was the only time recording the podcast that I didn't really remember everything we recorded. And that's when we were covering the topic about the fact they're changing the redhead scene at the Disney parks, which I feel very strongly about.
Okay.
And I asked my husband the next day, I'm like, oh my God, we forgot to talk about the redhead last night on the podcast. What was I thinking? And he went,
no, we didn't.
so we did? I'm sorry, excuse me?
Yeah, we went.
And I had to go back and listen to it. And I was surprisingly lucid sounding in the recording, but I did not remember recording it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's good. So strictly Disney, do you guys do anything like Marvel inspired with the drinks?
We haven't.
Technically, that's Disney now, but you know.
Yeah, we haven't skewed that way with the drinks, just because there's so many drinks still that are served on Disney property, so they're not necessarily themed out that way. When you go to, Club 33 or a Trader Sam's or wherever they sell drinks, they tend to be more specialized to that locale than they are to a character or something. Yeah. But you know, we would definitely, if a Marvel drink came up, or if there was something that was a really prominent drink in a Marvel film, we would do that. I mean, I usually do the Tony Stark drink, but that's just my regular thing of just drinking straight whiskey.
Yeah.
Left. So I got that covered all the time.
Yeah, it's cool. It's how you do when you're about the Starks, right?
But we do cover all of that news.
Call it the demon in the bottle.
Yes.
Right? We still cover all of that news, though. We do talk about Star Wars. We talk about Marvel. We do talk about other theme parks sometimes, so Universal and Knott's come up quite a bit if there's something really particularly interesting going on.
Right. There was a I just saw a video on Facebook by I believe it's from Secret of the Booze, and they just put out a recipe for, it's basically like an infinity gauntlet shot, and it like looks like it would kill you. It's like, I think I counted like
challenge accepted.
I think I counted like 13 ounces worth of alcohol in this shot, in this drink, we'll say. But it's it's like mixing of like small shot glasses and then big shot glasses, and the whole thing is in a pitcher, and it's kind of like a car bomb on crack. Like you keep dropping different glasses and drinking as you go, and then you down the last pitcher, and I'm like, who can survive this?
Also, that's not a shot by any means.
Yeah,
that's a death wish, but still challenge accepted.
Right. I'm gonna have to send you the link so you can see it, because it's pretty intense.
I need to see this for sure, because now I'm mad curious about that. And we've been trying some other stuff with the podcast too, so I'll be curious. We just dropped an episode recently where we tried to get mildly obliterated and watch the live action Beauty and the Beast because we hadn't seen it yet.
Oh yeah.
So we recorded ourselves watching the entire film. So hopefully people will pull it up on Netflix and they'll queue up us along with the film and listen to what our commentary is along with it. It's something new we're trying. I'm not sure if it'll work out. It's really hard when it's not something like a MST3K where you actually are watching the movie along with it. Right. So it's a little harder to just listen to in your car because there are pauses and gaps because we're watching a movie.
Yeah. Right.
But we're trying it. We just we love Disney so much, but there's so much also to riff on. So it's
Sure.
kind of a nice combination.
Yeah, absolutely. What how do you feel about the about all the new stuff that's at Disney right now? Well, you said you don't really watch the news. I don't know if you know. With the
Well, it depends on which
with the Pixar stuff and things. Have you checked any of that out yet?
Oh yeah, we talked about that in the last episode. I have a lot of feelings about it.
Okay.
Namely the fact that they're just reskinning stuff with whatever's popular at the time rather than putting some actual damn thought into it.
Sure.
It doesn't work for me, and it's hard because California Adventure started out as a pretty terrible park. Yeah. It was Michael Eisner's baby. It was not good. If anybody had gone on or seen video of Superstar Limo, you'll know how not good it was.
Yes.
But they finally turned that park around and they made it really beautiful and exciting and fun and a little more adult in a good way, where it was away from Disneyland. We could go over there, we could drink and just hang out. It was a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
And they had integrated Pixar in a great way. Like Bugs Land was awesome and beautiful and, you know, an experience. And even Cars Land, which should just be called Radiator Springs. Stop calling it Cars Land, guys. Radiator Springs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is immersive and it's wonderful. The restaurant's really good. And then with the pier, they're just going, we have this pre-existing pier. What should we do? Let's just put some random Pixar crap all over it and call it Pixar Pier because it's got nice alliteration. And we're done. Let's just leave it at that. And it's so short-sighted.
Yeah, you're like Pixar logos everywhere, the ball in every corner, the Luxo in every other corner, and boom, Pixar Pier.
I mean, Disneyland, while there were always commercial tie-ins, was also built very much on the backs of original ride experiences and things that were inspired by without being a direct copy. Like the Jungle Cruise was inspired by the real life adventures that they would run on, you know, and you can still find those out there, but it was inspired by, and you would have the Davy Crockett stuff in Frontierland, but it wasn't, here's the Davy Crockett ride presented by Monsanto. Like there were so many properties born out of original theme park ideas, and they're just recycling and regurgitating at this point. Like Pirates the Ride inspired the film. They're like, oh, and now it inspires the ride back. And it's like, no, stop. What? Yeah. No, I've never been so happy a movie failed as I am with the Haunted Mansion flopped. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because otherwise we'd have Eddie Murphy and Jennifer Tilly in the Haunted Mansion right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's unacceptable.
Scary thought. It's true. Now, Mac, this is a good segue into the news tonight. But how do you feel about the upcoming Marvel expansion, where it sounds like they're getting rid of Bugs Land and throwing in more Marvel at DCA?
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that footprint of land. It's really not that big. Yeah. It was all kid rides, so it's a very flat area. I actually called it like a bajillion years ago, and on the podcast, in fact, so we have actual documentation that I called it that was going to go away and become Marvel. Yeah, I get it. The Bugs Land area has started to decline. It's the same problem as Toontown, where the colors fade very fast when you do something that's vibrant and also out in the sun. Right. I just want it to feel in-world. I'm really worried that they're just going to sort of slap some stuff in there. Mm-hmm. And especially because one of the great things about Tower of Terror in juxtaposition to Bugs Land was you had perspective. You felt like this was a giant tower and you had that bug size. Sure. When you strip that out, you're going to lose that unless they make it like an Ant-Man themed thing on the top. And then I guess you could say that. I don't know. I want them to do something different with it. I'm hoping they'll take the theater and make it some kind of underground complex. That'd be cool. Make it feel something a little more like Avengers Initiative about it. Mm-hmm. It's just an awkward space to build in. So I'm kind of curious to see what kind of an attraction they'll want to put, because you would think it'd be a roller coaster. Right. But I'm not sure there's the room. I think they would be better served doing. Are you guys familiar with Flight of Passage that's out in Animal Kingdom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a simulator ride, but it is one of the most immersive experiences I've ever been on. Mm-hmm. I would love to see them take that and since they aren't going to build Avatar out here, do a different application with that same technology where you get in the Iron Man suit and you get to go blast off in the Iron Man suit and get to have this interactive experience. It doesn't take up as much room as a traditional coaster, but is vastly more immersive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then, like, turn that theater area into like a a makeshift shield headquarters.
Yeah, or make it the queue.
Go in and,
yeah.
Mac, you said Iron Man, so I'm already with you no matter what. That's all that matters.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that they could work on building a Marvel section of the park before we can get a Black Widow movie or any other female-led movie. So thanks for that, Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, you jerks. You got how many movies and now theme park stuff, and you can't give a lady a movie?
Come on now. Let's get with it, people. Friends, what you said it already, Darren. How many days we got left till Infinity War, man?
10 whole days. 10 of the longest days of my life.
I hope it's good.
Yes, but we can now say that it's next week. That's exciting. Next week, Infinity War.
You can say it, and if we're not, we're not at war.
Yes, that's right.
You can see Infinity War.
Yes. These damn wars better hold off until my Infinity Wars is all I gotta say. Recent news on Camp Infinity War. We just have confirmation of who is the actress that did the mo-capping and voice for Proxima Midnight, who is one of the Black Order Children of Thanos. Darren, who is the lovely actress playing Proxima Midnight?
That would be actress Carrie Coon is playing Proxima Midnight, is doing the mocap. And if you're not familiar with her, she was on HBO's The Leftovers for 3 seasons. And she was Gloria Burgle on FX's Fargo. So she's an in-demand actress. It's interesting that she's doing a mocap role, but at the same time, I mean, it's a Marvel movie.
If Marvel comes knocking, you say, yes, please. What role would you like?
Yes.
Jessica in the background? Yes, please.
Yes. She's a really great, talented actress. I really enjoyed watching her in The Leftovers, but that's about all I've personally seen her in. So I'm really like excited to see what she brings to this role. Mac, are you familiar with that actress?
Nope.
Okay. I was going to say, what are your thoughts on her playing, obviously, somebody who's probably going to be pretty dark and kicking some ass and looking to kill some Avengers, but
it's kind of refreshing sometimes to go into movies and see people that you haven't seen a lot of times where you're like, oh, it's this actor, oh, it's that actor. It is nice to see fresh faces that you don't necessarily tie to previous roles right off the bat.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then the other advantage of that is that then they can give the performance they want to give versus trying to stay reserved or hold on to a persona outside of the role. Like, it's my biggest problem with any superhero character that takes off the helmet and or mask. I'm just like, look, I understand you want people to know it's you, but you wear a mask, you wear a helmet, put the damn thing on. So it's
do it.
I mean, the only thing I've ever hated about the Thor movies is taking that damn helmet off. Like, he took the helmet off and he never wore it again, and it still bothers me to this day. But at the same time, if you're playing a character like Proxima Midnight or Ebony Maw, like you can embody that character because you're not having to worry about blah 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 as Proxima Midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. At this point, Darren, you posted over there on Superpowered Fancast the only two people that we are yet to know who's playing is or who they're being played by is the character Corvus Glaive and who Mr. Dinklage is playing. Team tonight, do we have any thoughts on who Dinklage is playing?
Gosh,
well, here's the thing.
No idea.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like there's a character in Thanos called I don't know, it's Black Dwarf or something dwarf, and I think that would be what people would think Dinklage is playing, but if you really think about Peter Dinklage's voice,
Mm-hmm.
I think he would be perfect as Corvus Glaive. I think.
Oh, so he could be playing Corvus Glaive. Okay.
I mean, I think again, it's probably the only other character that in the film that hasn't been revealed yet.
Right.
And it's probably Peter Dinklage is the only kind of a recognizable actor in that film whose role has not been revealed.
Yeah.
So it's almost kind of putting one and one together.
Yeah.
Twist: he's playing everyone.
Exactly.
Yes, Peter Dinklage plays the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You know what? I would watch it.
Yes, I know. We watch the hell out of it. Mac, what are you most excited about for Infinity War? We obviously are not on the show all the time with you, and we've talked about it till our ears have bled and eyes as well. But we want to know about what you think. What are you excited about for Infinity War?
Them not messing it up, hopefully.
Yes.
So I'll be honest that Infinity War is not one of the comic lines that I am as deeply knowledgeable about, because when it comes to comics, I read a lot more of DC comics. So a lot of my Marvel introduction has been stuff I watched in childhood and stuff from the films. I'm really just curious to see how they're going to juggle so many characters. I have a lot of anxiety about this movie because I want it to be amazing. I want to feel the way that I did when I saw the first Avengers film, that I saw a disgusting amount of times in theaters. Right. It's probably the movie I've seen the most in theaters in my entire life.
I'm with you.
And I need this to be good because, honestly, I thought Age of Ultron was a big letdown.
Yeah.
If I'm being really, really honest, and I just want a solid story. I'm worried about them leaning so hard on these characters and all of these big egos and personalities that the story's going to get swallowed up in that. Right. Because there's such a good opportunity for like the pathos and drama between all of these characters, because they are so different. I like seeing how that interacts. As part of why the first Avengers movie was so awesome was, okay, here's these characters we've gotten to see in all these different, separate films, and they're coming together. How will all of these personalities interact? Yeah. But I'm worried they're going to get so caught up in the weeds with that it might not be great.
Right.
I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I want it to be amazing, but I'm going to be like white knuckling it in the theater, hoping as the credits start.
I like what the Russos have done in the past in the MCU, and I really feel like they kind of understand that concern. I mean, if you're looking at it from a fan perspective, I understand, and I think they if anybody could pull off how to juggle that many big Marvel personalities in one movie, because there's fans of every character in this film that people are going to want to see. And I think the challenge and of course the concern is giving people enough of what they want to see and then not too much of it to where it's just, oh, here's Star-Lord, here's Doctor Strange, here's this,
Exactly. I'm really, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Cap and Bucky interactions go as well, because of all of the films. The Captain America films are my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Deron, what do you got, my friend? What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I think that's part of the magic of Marvel, and I hate that sounded like
it's good, buddy. It's
like
good.
A publicity call. But I think part of what they've done right, exactly, for so long is they've been able to, especially with these films, it's like for 10 years they've given us these characters. We know who they are.
Yeah.
So I think they don't have to. I'm cautious, but at the same time, I think they don't have to spend a whole lot of time reestablishing who these characters are.
Right.
I think you're going to get maybe a line that kind of, who clashes with who doesn't get along, who gets along well, and I think the fun will be who gets along that shouldn't. Like I think it would be absolutely perfect if there was a scene where Rocket has an amazing just kind of back and forth with Hulk, and these two, and they become like best friends. It would be the the most amazing thing. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what they do when they have all the toys
Sure.
now and they're playing with them, and I want to see how that works out. And I think again, we know at this point who these characters are, so we don't necessarily have to have you spoon feed us as to who they are and how they're going to interact.
So would that be your top hope for an interaction? Is Rocket and Hulk?
No, I think I'd say probably my top interaction would be I don't know, probably be like a weird kind of like just the weirdest of conversations between Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and Drax. I would just
Doctor Strange and Drax,
just the three of them like together for some reason. I don't even care what the reason is, but how they would like put them all in a room and see how they would interact with each other to get out.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Like I even kind of I want a facial hair bros moment between.
Yes, yeah, I'm with you, buddy.
Between Strange and Tony, I want that.
Oh man.
Yes, that's my obvious one. But I also want to see. I also am curious to see if we're gonna get how Tony reacts to a talking teenage tree. So that'll be if we get that interaction, that'll be interesting. Gonna be like, yeah, it's a talking tree. Great, all right, fun.
I just love even from the stuff that I've seen, like just the fact that the Guardians are so unimpressed with everything and everybody.
Yes,
that's almost kind of the perfect reaction. Like you don't spend your entire life in outer space and come to Earth and just be impressed with all of these around. You've seen some stuff.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of the dynamic I want to see from them versus the Avengers.
Star-Lord's kind of like, dude, my dad was a planet. Come on.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, I think Rocket and Shuri would have a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah. Okay. lot of pending upgrades, eh?
Yeah. Oh my god. Can you imagine the destruction?
Yes.
Oh.
What can we do with this thing? This thing keeps bugging me.
And I need that guy's arm.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're gonna need that guy's leg. Oh man, Mac, being that I know you do appreciate all things the wars, as the other wars, the Star Wars. How are you feeling so far about what you've seen of Solo?
So I have only watched the first trailer, which is usually what I do with movies now, because I'm not working in it currently, but a lot of my background is in licensing. So I worked on so many movies where I saw everything from start to finish before it ever came out. And that kind of changed my perspective on watching a lot of trailers before films come out. So I kind of like to go in and be surprised.
Sure.
Because things are spoiled for me so consistently working in that industry.
Right.
So I don't know. I have really mixed feelings because I love Star Wars. I love it desperately deeply. It's one of the things that's been with me since childhood, but I really kind of want to see stuff that's more EU driven. I don't really want to see stuff that ties back. Like I got what I needed when I saw episodes 4 through 6. Like to me, that was complete, and almost like all the spin-off stuff has been 1 through 3, and we're doing 7 through 9, but those are stories, those are characters that are important to me, but that I feel like I got what I needed. My favorite, which a lot of people disagree with me, of the more recent Star Wars films is actually Rogue One.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it was different. It was a war story. It was different characters. It tangentially tied into the overall plot, but it was off showing me a different part of the universe and different things that were going on.
Sure.
And Solo, like, I know who that character is. Yeah. And he shot first. And I love Han Solo. I really do. But I got what I needed about him to take things and where they feel like they have to give so much more background to these characters and explain all of this. I don't personally feel like I need that. And the thing I'm most excited about, honestly, is Donald Glover playing Lando, because Lando is the more interesting one to me than Solo in that film, because Lando's the one that I know the least about.
Yeah.
So his journey is far more interesting to me than Han Solo's.
Yeah. 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 So you and I'm rarely like you are with not seeing too many trailers. Although I will say I've only seen the first trailer of Infinity War, which is interesting. But this last trailer, Darren, since you've seen it, I will definitely say it got me a little more interested in seeing this movie. There was some cool shots in that trailer. There was some cool interactions that are being teased. Between him and Lando, obviously, like Mac is talking about, which I think we're obviously going to see this fateful game where he won the Falcon at some point. It looks like, and you got some cool new droids and things. How are you feeling after this second full trailer, Darren?
Well, I mean, you remember, like I was with Mac on this. Like I never really thought the concept of the film was something that even needed to be made.
Yeah.
And then like all the drama with the original directors and everything with Ron Howard. I mean, it was one of the ones I was just like, okay, I'm going to see it, but it's not going to be one I'm going to see first day. But it's, I'd say from the first trailer to this one, it's gotten me a lot more interested in seeing the film, and not even necessarily. And again, I'm gonna be honest. Not even necessarily to see Han Solo, but to see everybody else. Like I want to see Paul Bettany's character. I want to know what's going on with that Mandalorian armor in the background. Is he Mandalorian? What is going on with that?
Yeah,
I want to see. I want to see Donald Glover as Lando. In fact, frankly, I would probably be more excited if it were a Lando Calrissian.
Yes.
Yes.
I would watch the Lando movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Like there was a book. I think it was called Star Wars Outlaws, and it was Han and Lando and Chewie, and almost it had they made like that film where, and then maybe that's part of what they're doing in this one. But again, I'm more interested in seeing it now. Because of what they saw and what they saw, I mean, what they showed was Lando.
Yeah,
they showed Lando. They showed the other people in the movie. They showed everyone, all the other characters in the movie other than Han Solo had me interested in seeing Solo.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, buddy. I agree, and definitely, I will say that after this trailer, it's got me to at least go see it on opening night. So I was gonna be like, you'd be like, yeah, I'll wait a little bit, whatever. But I don't know. It looks fun. At least it's starting to look fun and more interesting, like you said, with just the diverse cast of other characters that are going to fill that story. So we'll see, man. We don't have to wait too much longer for that one either. It's coming out next month. So
gosh, already? God, yes. The time goes by so fast.
I know. Tell your friends. Real quick, since we're running towards the end of the show here, we drop some quick news for all you beautiful people. Chapter 2, we'll say, instead of calling it 2. It Chapter 2. Apparently, there is some more casting news in the works, possibly, and it looks like they may have cast Adult Bill and Adult Richie, which are Darren,
James McAvoy, and Bill Hader.
Bill Hader. Mac, what do you think about that?
You know, I'm actually totally okay with that. That fits what I could see for these characters. I really, really enjoyed part 1. I had one big gripe about it personally, but other than that, I really enjoyed it. And I'm going to be curious to see how they pull off part 2, because the book towards the end goes really off the rails.
Yeah.
So where are they actually going to take it versus what they did in the original made-for-TV movie?
Right.
But that was... Yeah, I'm okay with this casting, totally. And they were also talking about Jessica Chastain as Beverly.
Yeah.
Well, they pretty much confirmed that at this point. Like every story I've read has confirmed that she's playing Beverly.
Which I think is great, and hopefully they give her a little back of her own, because I feel like in the first movie they did a great disservice to the character Beverly.
Yeah. Because
they altered it so much, and she was never a damsel character, and they made her a damsel character, and that pissed me off pretty bad.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, but Darren, I think it'll make for a really big name horror movie if we're dropping names like McAvoy and Jessica Chastain in there.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you have to go with great actors, but you're also going to have to go with big names, and not even necessarily just for the sake of the names, but just because they did so well with the first film, barring some issues. And with you, like I had issues with my issues were with Mike Hamlin because he was my favorite from the book.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
the book I've read like every year since I was 11. But they took some liberties with the character. But at the same time, like I want to see some big names in it. But at the same time, I don't want those names to overshadow the film. Because I want to the characters are what I want to see on the
sure, absolutely. Yeah. Also in movie news, we got a trailer for a movie called Hotel Artemis. Now, this movie looks super intriguing to me, and I'm gonna tell you why, guys. I'm gonna tell you why. One of my favorite parts of the John Wick films was the hotel, and how it's like specifically like a hotel for assassins. And
Oh,
there's all
so
these,
cool.
yeah, and there's all these rules you have to abide by. And the moment I saw it, I'm like, I want to know more about places like that. Okay, I want to see like more things, and this movie Hotel Artemis is like right up that alley. It's a members only emergency room hospital for criminals, which I think is like the coolest concept. And yeah, and this thing is loaded with some big names. You got Sterling K. Brown, Sophia Boutella, Jenny Slate, Zachary Quinto, Charlie Day, Dave Bautista, and of course the one, the only Mr. Jeff Goldblum is going to be dropping his beautiful face and personality in that movie. What do you guys think about the premise of this movie and the trailer? I don't know if you watched the trailer, Mac, but
I didn't watch the trailer, but I love that it's different. I'm so tired of things just being the same over and over again.
Yeah,
I get excited anytime there's a movie that sounds genuinely unique.
Yeah, right.
And that's one of the things that kind of drew me to it, especially the trailer, was that all of it looked completely different. Like there was nothing about it. There was nothing about it that I could consider predictable. Like, and everyone in it looked like they were inhabiting characters I've never seen on screen before, and specifically not from them. Like, just like Jodie Foster, I've never seen a character like. I've never seen a performance by Jodie Foster look like that.
Right.
And then Sterling K. Brown kind of playing like a badass hood. Like, I mean, this is the This Is Us guy.
Yeah.
And then like all of it looks, and then it's Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
It's just
what can you say about Jeff Goldblum? I mean, come on.
Man,
he's
what
awesome.
a resurgence that guy has had. Holy hell.
He's what Series of Unfortunate Events season 2. He's so in right now. He's so in. Jeff Goldblum is way in.
I think the best thing about it right now is that he's starting to he's embracing a lot of this now. So he's doing he's going to cons and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's great. I want to meet Jeff Goldblum at a con.
He seems so chill too, because he plays in like a jazz band, and so a lot of friends have taken photos with the guy because he's so chill. And like, I love he did a segment where he was rating tattoos of him.
Yeah. it's a very Jeff Goldblum thing, and it's so cool that when you get actors like this, that they're just kind of like, I don't want to say they're not fazed by their celebrity status, but they're just kind of like, whatever. People love me. People love me. Let's do this.
Yeah, he leans into it, and I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Deron, real quick before we start to wrap things up tonight, some big DCU news dropped today, and I know you're really excited about it, man. What's the news that we heard today?
Well, I'm excited about it, and I think more excited about the fact that it is DC Comics, but it doesn't necessarily feel DCU. Yeah. So there's a part of it that can kind of stay like out of the let's call it work in progress. That is the DC film universe, and that is Steven Spielberg is directing a DC Comics film. And while everyone's speculating on what film that will be, I can basically just tell you he is directing Black Hawks. Yeah. Which is which, if you don't know who Black Hawks are, I'm going to tell you about it. But if you do, I think it's kind of like the perfect. I think it's the perfect project for him to be involved with if he's going to do a comic book film. Just because it's a squadron of it's a squadron of elite pilots going on weird missions during World War II from their hidden from their hidden island.
Yeah, the hidden island base. That's cool.
Yeah, your hidden island base, so they fly like high-tech planes to take on Nazis. How about what about that does not scream? It's all World War II and spectacle. That's Steven Spielberg.
That is Spielberg. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They're like Saving Private Ryan, Empire of the Sun, like producing like Band of Brothers and Pacific. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one that they can take in a direction that doesn't feel too comic book in some ways either, because I have to admit some worry that at some point the comic book superhero bubble is going to burst at some point and people are going to get fatigued, but that's something that is different, so it can live beyond, oh, it's just another superhero.
Yeah, that's it. And my only kind of misgiving is that like when they announced it, like I've loved the Black Hawk Squadron in comics. I love the if you haven't read Dark Knight's Metal, they make an appearance in that. They're part of that story, and they were part of the All-Star Batman run from Scott Snyder before then.
Right.
But when I think about like Black Hawks now, when I look at it and I think about it on the big screen, I keep getting these flashes of that film Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
I love that movie.
I just watched that movie like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was just because there's so many parallels, and I'm hoping that they don't that they stay away from that.
Right.
But at the same time, it's going to be. I think once I start seeing like concept art and pre-production stuff, then I'll think about something other than that film. But right now, when they announce it, I'm thinking like Sky Captain.
Yeah. Matt, quick question for you real quick. On that note, when you have big name directors like Spielberg getting tied in with comic book movies, or the fact that Ron Howard finished up filming with Solo, do you think that that's a sign that the overall, we'll say, attitude towards comic book movies and things like that is changing? Because I know in the past there's been some kind of, we'll say from certain aspects of Hollywood, kind of an elitist attitude where it's like, it's comic book movies, it's a sellout, blah, blah, blah. And now we're getting these, it sounds like we're starting to get bigger names directing and behind the cameras of these films. What do you think that means for the way people are viewing comic book films in general?
It's hard to say, because with something like that also, you have to wonder if they're kind of jumping on the trend while they can as well to put their mark on it versus it being like more mainstream acceptable. Right. Seeing that actually makes me wonder if that's a good or a bad thing for comic book movies on the whole. If it's if that's like, oh, wow, it's really acceptable, or if it's like, this is sort of it's hit that point. It's like, not to sound hipstery, but sort of like, oh, it's too broad and too mainstream, where it's going to become homogenized rather than having the flair. And that part of what was so fun was having all these sort of individual directors that had these interesting, quirky visions. Sure. And will it become too safe and too easy?
Yeah. Because
you've got these big names that are doing it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Good point. I like that. Okay.
I think, and I agree with you.
Yeah, I totally. Mac, what were you going to say right before I posed that question to you? I'm sorry.
I have no idea. that was in the past, man. I don't pay attention.
We don't look back.
Just going forward. Just forward.
Keep moving
forward. It distracts from the now.
Yes. Yeah, it sounds like a cool thing. And like Deron said, it sounds like something that's a little bit different. So it's I'll be interested to see what they start putting out for that film. Friends, before we wrap up tonight, Mac, this is our we'll say our 60 seconds in your wide world of geek, where you can talk about whatever you want, plug whatever you want. Obviously, we're plugging the show, but talk about whatever else you want besides that, and then you can drop that at the end.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot of the things. I guess, I mean, the other big thing that I'm really into right now that I'm enjoying, and it's also enjoying a huge resurgence, is tabletop gaming. Yeah, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's funny how that's also becoming mainstream in a way it hadn't before. You think about Stranger Things even, and while it's set in the 80s, we really are in this interesting period where more and more people are enjoying this as a medium.
Mhm.
And I mean, you've got things like Critical Role has billboards in LA.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's nuts. You know, it's not just that stereotype people in their basement going, I want to cast magic missiles.
Yes.
Like,
Pew pew.
yeah, and it's I'm really excited. I'm going to be starting up a game soon of Monster Hearts, and I'm going to be co-GMing with somebody, which is a PBTA game, which is powered by the Apocalypse. And there's so many game systems out there. People think of it as just being D&D, but there's a bajillion different systems and infinite combinations and infinite possibilities for storytelling. And I worry about, as I do with anything that becomes too big, is that there'll be burnout eventually. But right now, it's in a really sweet spot.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to get into some of that, my friend. And honestly, it's been like, I'm talking like 6th grade in elementary school. This is the last time I played a like a Dungeons and Dragons type game like that. And just like, and it's funny because I have some friends in their local 501st squad that are doing it like on Tuesday or Monday nights, I think. So I might see if I can get in on that, because kind of down to try it up again.
You really should. It's so much fun. It's rewarding. It's a really good, healthy way to have some escapism, especially because things are so crazy in the world right now. So getting to step into a different character for a little while is exciting. And I mean, I've always loved playing ever since I got to start. But now that I've taken up the mantle of GMing, which I've been doing for about a year now, there's a lot of fun in also being a storyteller. And I kind of hope the train keeps a rolling for a while yet.
Yeah, I hear you, my friend. Mr. Generally, what were you up to this week in the wide world of geek, my friend?
Well, I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of news items going on, comic books I'm reading just like a madman from every publisher because I love it.
Yes.
And my had a new episode of Superpowered Fancast that dropped where I got to talk to former Marvel Comics editor Heather Antos about the comic book industry, about editing comics, about her work on Star Wars and Gwenpool and Deadpool, and just kind of what if you're working for a comic book company they're looking for when like what not to bring her as an editor,
right
like in your script.
Yes.
And then just the big adamant, like, do not send unsolicited ideas to anyone. But she did have some great advice as far as like what they want to see is like so they want to instead of like trying to talk about your script for Batman, they want to see your finished original idea. And I think it's probably kind of one of the best pieces of advice you can give to anyone who wants to get into that industry. But
sure.
That's been it. Just trying to just trying to talk to interesting people and learn new things about things I didn't know before.
Always, man. Always evolving, always learning, right?
Yep.
But buddy, real quick, I wanted to ask you. We'll put this on my segment, but I just watched episode 1 of Lost in Space on Netflix last night, and man, I'm way into it right now. I'm way in. I'm like all in. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. I don't know how far you've gotten on it. Have you only just watched the first episode, or?
I'm on episode 4.
Okay.
Like episode 3 was really like Dr. Smith centric, and I loved it.
Yes.
So I'm on episode 4 right now.
I'm hearing such great things. I've definitely got to sit down and watch it. It wasn't one that was really something I was like, oh my God, I really have to watch it. But everybody has been saying great stuff.
Oh, it's incredible.
Well, Lost in Space was there were people who had I was a latchkey kid growing up, and like Lost in Space was my show.
Yeah.
Like I could come home, I would come home from school, and after everything else was off on TV, I could find a rerun of Lost in Space, or on a Sunday morning before church, when I would get up like 2 hours before everybody else and just kind of. I'm talking from like the old black and white episodes.
Oh yeah.
The good old danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Exactly. and then when they finally started putting them in color, just those weird pastel colors that they wore. But I love that. Like to the point where you can't see it, but I have my Lost in Space robot, my talking Lost in Space robot over on the mantle behind me. Like I've always loved that show. So I'm definitely into this Netflix series.
Yeah, I'm way into it, man. I can't wait to see the rest of it. But last week we didn't record because Monday was my 2-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, congrats, dude!
Yeah, thank you. And then 2 days later was my 37th birthday. So busy week. But I waited to celebrate on Saturday, and I had we'll put it in air quotes, Disney party, which included anything Star Wars and Marvel was also accepted, right? But I did debut a brand new costume, which was the Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy. And and I got to give a big shout out to my amazing seamstress. I call her the fairy cost mother, my friend Monty. You can find her on Facebook at maid_by_Monty. And every time I come up with this crazy idea of something I want to dress up as, she's like, we can do it. And she'll just like struggle through things, and we go over 5 million details with each other, and she's just like, we'll figure it out, don't worry about it. And she just makes like magic happen, just to sound uber cliche. Every time she makes a costume for me, and I'm just over the moon about this one. It's so much fun. And I've always, obviously by my room, I like to collect things. So, just in that easiest rudimentary, like surface level, I relate with the character on that level. But who doesn't love Benicio del Toro when he's playing these crazy kind of wild characters like him and, DJ and, some of the other stuff he's played, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and all that other good stuff. So yeah, it was a blast, and the costume came out amazing. And then, one other thing I wanted to mention, I have, Deron, Gina, she's been on the show. She made our logo. Gina you can find her at Closet Costs on Instagram and Twitter. She is a phenomenal prop maker, and she decided to gift me with a homemade Closet Cost creation. And it's like I was in tears, man. And I was drunk, you guys. I was like hammered. This was like at later on at the end of the party. I'm like kind of like stumbling and don't even know what's going on. And it was almost one of those like instantly sobering, like, because it was so amazing moments that instantly I was just like, oh my God. She made me a full-sized replica of Tom Riddle's diary from Chamber of Secrets. And it's not just that, it's like frozen in time, the exact moment when Harry stabs it with the basilisk fang. So there's a to scale basilisk fang that she made. Yeah, and it's into the journal, and the ink actually looks like it's splashing up out of the book onto the sides of the fang. And not only that, it's sitting on this, like, we'll say like a drawer almost that opens up, and there's accessories to actually turn the fang into a calligraphy pen.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
oh my God.
Yeah, and she put, space to hold the inkwell in the book. And so you can actually just use it with the book closed. And she's like, and the nice thing about it is if you spill ink on it, it makes it look even better. Yeah. It was like it's probably one of the most amazing things I've ever gotten for a birthday. It was incredible. And so like my sincerest heartfelt thanks to her for that. Because I'm like, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but it's gorgeous. And so now 2 of my favorite props in my Harry Potter collection were made by her. And Mac, she also made me she made the golden egg from the first challenge in a Goblet of Fire.
Oh, that's rad.
And it opens and it lights up and it has a rotating base, so it spins.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
I need a better class of friends.
Yeah, but yeah, it was insane. So I had an awesome birthday. So it's good stuff. 37's not feeling too bad yet, so we're good. But friends, that's it for the show tonight. Mac Beauvais, tell us one more time where they can find out all about Typecast and about you, my friend.
Yeah, so Typecast, the best place to go is to bit.ly/typecastgogo. That's bit.ly/typecastgogo, all lowercase. You can also hit me up pretty much everywhere as @strangelikeThat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. happy to talk to you guys about the project or pretty much anything nerd inclined. So,
yes.
And horror. Hit me up with horror stuff. I love talking about monsters.
My friend, thank you so much for coming on, and
Thanks for having me.
I hope I get to run into you at a convention because it's always a blast to get to talk to you and see whatever crazy amazing thing that you're wearing at that con. So I can't wait.
I gotta get through fundraising before I can do any more cosplaying, though.
Yes, that's right. Priorities, right?
Yeah, it's it takes a lot of time, and you know, another thing I like to tell people is if you can't donate, share. Sharing makes a huge difference. Algorithms are terrible. Just getting the word out there, because I know not everybody can donate. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. Even if you think I don't have a lot of social media influence, even if you snag one person who comes and can help us build this, I mean, that's huge right there. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. There's more ways to help than just money, friends. So keep that in mind, and please check out Mac and the rest of the amazing people behind Typecast. Mr. Deron, generally, what do you got? Tell us where they can find you and that other awesome show. We're always doing amazing stuff and talking to great people, man.
Well, you can always find me on at Superpowered Fan on Twitter. My podcast is Superpowered Fancast, and my website is superpoweredfancast.com. You can always find me on Geeks Worldwide at www.dgww.com.
That's the one for all the latest and greatest in the geek world, for all the biggest and brightest news stories in the geek universe, my friends. Thank you for listening and watching. You can find me, of course, on Twitter at Darth Sparrow. The crew over here, you can find us at _Geekside pod, where we're always talking about all kinds of random, crazy geek shit and posting pictures sometimes of, you know, me as a collector with an Infinity Gauntlet on and chilling with Casey and James from the old Capes crew. So go check that out. That was a fun picture to get to see all those, the three of us together in a room again. So as always, friends, we will catch you next week when we'll be back walking on that wild side that we call the geek side.